You know, sometimes this life can get rough. You get knocked down, but you gotta get up. Keep going.
Welcome everybody to the next episode of the APL Sports Show. I am your host, Coach D. The guest I have today, man, is a legend, and I'm privileged to sit down with this young man. He's been a visionary, a founder, a owner, from humble beginnings and to revolutionizing the surf and skate industry. His story is one of passion, innovation, and unwavering dedication. I'm just honored to be sitting down with this man. My friend, a good friend of mine, Mr. Bob Hurley.
Oh, thanks, Coach.
Oh, man.
Humbling words.
Humbling. I had to do justice for you, man.
Thank you.
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Another day on earth, above the
awesome.
ground.
Yes,
Happy.
sir, man. How's the family?
So good.
Good,
yeah,
man.
everyone's
Good.
great.
Grandkids are good?
Oh, yeah.
Are they driving you crazy like always?
Never.
What?
No, they're too big. They're grown-ups, man. I gotta say yes, sir, and no, sir to them.
Man,
they're big people.
How do you get your grandkids not to drive you crazy, but they drive me crazy at the school?
Well, I'm the grandpa.
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
to discipline them or nothing.
Yeah, man, I do.
I
do,
know,
man.
I know.
Yeah, I do, man. But they love you.
Yeah, thanks for thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for helping them out.
I appreciate you.
They
man.
love their football.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you,
They
man.
love their coaches.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
They're great kids, all of them. All of them, Titus, Kern,
Yeah.
Jonas, just great kids,
Yeah.
man. So,
I'm proud of them. They're nice people.
Yeah.
The main thing.
They are. You know what? Yeah, I like I said, I'm gonna take it a step further. They're great human beings.
Aw.
They are. Man, listen, man.
Best thing you could tell Grandpa.
Yeah, we rely on them so much with the leadership at the school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Cool.
And I have to challenge them, and because I want them to continue to develop and get better.
Yeah.
So, but they step up,
Yeah.
all three of them, man. Not just saying it because you're here,
Yeah.
but no, they really know how Coach D feel about them, man.
That's nice.
So I appreciate you, man. Like I said, thank you again.
Yes.
For taking time out of your busy schedule to come sit down and talk with me, man. Thank you so
pleasure.
much, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this podcast, man.
sir.
Let's talk about Bob Hurley, your younger self. You know, where'd you grow up, where you from, and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, my dad was in the military, so I was
awesome.
born in Canada on an Air Force base.
Really?
Yeah. Then we went to Maryland. The home of the CIA, whatever.
Yep.
What's that place called? You know.
I do.
And then we went to Texas, and then we went to Japan. My dad passed away in Japan, so my single mom moved back to Rhode Island, where we're really from, and. Yeah, and then she didn't like it there, so she drove us out west. Well, it was hard, with three little kids and just being by herself, and everyone always saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry," you know.
Yep.
And so she just said, "We got to get out of here." So we moved out west, totally broke, and neighbors used to buy us groceries. Learned how to play sports out west in California, Hawthorne, California.
Oh, you grew up in Hawthorne?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I believe you. A lot of fun, man.
Learned a lot.
Yeah, you did. And you said, and that's what I mean by the humble beginnings. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Wow. Dead broke.
Yeah, I got a story for you. So
please tell me a story, man.
Well, you've been in the military, so you know. So my dad passed away.
Yep.
My mom got support from the military for us three kids. I think she got $60 a month, each of us.
Gotcha.
She didn't spend it on food or clothes or anything. She stuck it in a bank and she gave it to each of us when we were 18.
Wow.
How does a person do that? I mean, we were really, really broke. No groceries, no good clothes, nothing. No brand names ever.
Wow.
Yeah. Our neighbor was a fire chief in Hawthorne, and he used to buy us groceries.
Wow.
Pretty cool,
You said
huh?
that's being to, especially knowing to what you turned into, you know, and, what you did, late in your later life, where you came from. That's, wow.
Yeah.
That's remarkable, man.
Yeah.
And so she, that's a hell of a mom.
I can't even
That's
believe
a hell
it.
of a mom, man.
Yeah.
That she put back that money for, her three kids to have when they 18.
Yeah, I think when I was 18, I got $4,000 or something like that,
That's amazing, man. The power and love of a mom, man, is something else. It's unmatched,
I didn't appreciate her at the time.
Yeah.
I did not.
You know what? Hey.
Fought with her all day, every day.
Most boys don't appreciate mom until they really understand it, man.
Yeah.
But that's remarkable, man. And what branch of the service was your dad in?
Air Force.
Air Force.
Yeah, so we lived on Kyushu Island in Japan, and I think they were watching the North Koreans and the Russians at the time. Turns out all his people later in life, my my nephew did some research. They were NSA. So it was probably just at the very start of NSA, which stands for No Such Agency.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. So that's what they did.
Gotcha.
He was a cryptographer.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Crazy intense job, man.
Yeah.
And so, you said you moved to Maryland as well, right?
Yep. I don't remember Maryland at all. My
Gotcha.
brother was born there, though. I
Gotcha.
don't remember Canada either. I remember Texas. That's my first thing.
What part of Texas?
San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Yeah.
Wow, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. So my little brother was Air Force, and that's where he did his boot camp at San Antonio.
Oh, yeah. Big
man.
Air Force base.
Yeah, big Air Force base down there. What I want to do now with this question, man, let's talk about your background and how you started Hurley.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that all come into play? What made you want to start, your brand?
Yeah, so I'll back up a little.
Okay.
Trying to find my identity as a teenager. So from Hawthorne, we moved to California, and trying to find my identity, I was naturally pretty good at sports.
Okay.
So when I learned how to play baseball in Hawthorne, when I learned how to play basketball and football, I was usually one of the better guys on the team.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, I got a very bad attitude. Like, why is everybody else so horrible? I'm the man. I am the man.
Yeah.
So then when we moved to Orange County, I was always real small too. We moved to Orange County. I was on the in high school. I was on the football team. I was on the basketball team. I had given up baseball by then, but all of a sudden, all my friends grew on the team. Wow. I was 4'10", and guys I was tackling were 6'3".
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
And they got fast, too. It used to be the big guys were slow, and I could always get the ball from them or, dodge them. But anyways, it became very humbling. I was no longer a good player on any of the teams. I mean, I was adequate, right? And I hustled and all that, but I wasn't a star.
Gotcha.
There were stars, and I wasn't one. So to figure out what I was going to do, obviously it wasn't going to be sports. My friends taught me how to surf. And then I surfed, and when the surf got bad, we skateboarded under Huntington Beach Pier. There's a skateboarding zone. Worked in a surf shop. And then I learned how to make surfboards all around town. They used to sell a lot of them. And I was like what they call a ghost shaper, kind of like a ghost writer. There was famous surfboard makers, and I would do the work behind the scenes.
Really?
Yeah. What? And I needed to because we had little kids, and I didn't need to party like they all did. And I just did the work. And as a result, we were able to import a brand from Australia called Billabong.
Billabong,
Yeah, I really wanted it. And if you recall, I said we didn't have any money growing up. I'm obsessed with brand names.
Yeah,
sometimes that's bad.
Yeah,
right?
but
hey, when you want Levi's and you get fake Levi's, and you want Converse and you get fake Converse, and then you yell at your mom, and then she starts crying. When you get older and you can get brands, you want them.
You want them.
Yeah.
100%.
So I really like this brand Billabong. We imported it from Australia, and we turned it into a company. I had a surfboard company that turned into a clothing company. It was so weird. It was called Billabong. I think we did it for 16 years.
Billabong,
Yeah.
You did Billabong for 16 years.
We did Billabong in the U.S. for 16 years. It got pretty big. It got up to $100 million in revenue.
Oh, wow.
And then in 98, we gave it back to the Australian company because I didn't start Billabong. We started it in America.
You just brought it and imported it here.
And
gotcha.
then, I always thought it was our company, me and the Australian, but it became quite clear by about 98. We had creative differences. We got big. They didn't like that, although they liked the money because we'd pay a royalty, you know. And it was totally fine. We just had creative differences. I like surfboarding, surfing, of course, but I like skateboarding and music and art, and lots of friends that I knew did that.
Yep.
And that was different than what Australia wanted. And finally, it dawned on me that, like, hey, it's not even my brand.
Yeah, it's not even my brand.
I didn't know that.
It's not my brand. What?
I thought it was my brand.
Yeah.
It's not. No. Yeah. So I'm not too bright. It took me a while to figure that out.
You're 16 years, right?
Yeah. But I figured it out while I was laying in Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach with cancer. I'm like,
oh, really?
What will I do? Will I die? Maybe, I don't know if I'll die, but if I do, I think I was going to heaven. So
yeah.
I just thought about life in lots of areas. I prayed to God, hey, before I die, could I please see one grandkid?
Yeah.
Well, now I have 11. You never know what's
coming.
Wait,
you got 11?
Yeah, 11. That's crazy, right?
You got 11?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah, it's nutty.
What? Now I see what you mean. Like all the grandkids, I Titus, Kern, Jonas, Tyson Kern's sister, little sister, the older brother.
Yeah, and the older sister you may not have met.
I've never, nope,
Yeah,
nope.
yeah, and then our other siblings have lots of kids too. So it's just been wonderful. And but anyway, so we decided it was time to give Billabong back. It wasn't our company, and then so we wanted to start a brand. Not to make more money or anything, just to serve our friends.
Absolutely.
That were musicians, artists, snowboarders, skateboarders, all the stuff we did. We wanted that to happen, including surfing.
Yeah.
Because we love surfing. But so we started this brand called Hurley at the turn of the millennium. And you were probably alive then, huh?
Well, yeah, I was born in 87.
Baby. Anyways, there was something called Y2K.
Y2K. I remember Y2K.
Yeah, it seemed like the scariest thing in the
did.
world.
It
All the
like,
computers were going to blow
Shut
up.
down.
None of the cars were going to work.
Oh, the
There
world's
was a
going to
recession.
end.
Yeah, there was all
man.
kinds of wars and stuff. And so the world was ready for something new in our world.
Yep.
And so all us guys got together, and the existing crew that had Billabong, Costa Mesa, said, you know what, we're just going to start something new. So we gave Billabong back. We kept 150 employees, started a new thing called Hurley. And Hurley was about, we had a saying, the movement is on. Hurley was about inclusion, positivity. Whereas, traditionally surf brands were about we're cool, you're not.
Yeah,
we're like, no. If you play chess and you hate surfing, dude, and you want to make something of yourself,
come on.
we're for you. We are for you.
Yep.
And we didn't mind if people disagreed with us, and we loved it if they didn't like us, but because we were always about full potential for humans. And whether that was surfing or not didn't really matter to us. And so we did it, and it was very successful. Year one, we did 27 million in sales.
And with Hurley.
Yeah. Year two, we did 48 million. Year three, we did 75 million.
Wow.
And then we were getting so big so fast, we needed capital, so we sold it to Nike.
Got you.
It was fun.
Wow. Wait, hold on. Let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So you
I
said
probably didn't even answer your question.
You answered, but you gave me a lot more to digest, right? Yeah,
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
Your grandkids warned me about this. They say once you get going and start talking. But I love it, man. So year one, you said you brought in how much revenue?
28 million.
Is that just here in Cali, or was it like
It was in the U.S.
In the U.S.,
Yeah,
really?
we weren't international yet.
Okay, so how hard was it for you to get it in the U.S., like out in the U.S. like that? you know?
Well, I would say everything we've ever done is hard on one
absolutely.
hand.
Yep.
On the other hand, it wasn't rocket science, because I really feel like I was made for a purpose.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm destiny has never landed in our lap, but I feel like we're pursuing our destiny every day, and doors open and doors close. So to me, it was as hard as like walking on a sidewalk.
Gotcha.
However that hard that is for you as a top athlete, it's not that hard, really.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be doing it,
Absolutely.
right? So we had some fortuitous things. We had a band called the Black Eyed Peas that were very good friends of ours. Band called Blink 182. They were very good friends of ours.
Both of those bands.
Yeah, both those bands promoted our brand fastidiously. They just and so that was year one. They played our opening party for free, I think, at a club where it would hold 500 people in San Diego, but like 10,000 people came. And the streets were mayhem.
Wait, hold on. The Black Eyed Peas did.
Yeah.
Wow, that's next level, man.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And, just wonderful humans that really liked the idea of positivity and inclusion and making something of yourself, not being a loser, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, you were made for some reason. What's your full potential?
Yep, don't waste time,
So
man.
we always wanted to help people get to their full potential in whatever endeavor they chose.
Yeah.
And
That's
surfing was the base of it.
Got you. Okay. So you and you answered the question I had later in the podcast, but I'm glad you touched up on it now. With those people, the bands and stuff that you had representing Hurley, how did that come into play? Is it because of the relationship with Billabong, or how did that come around?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, they were always friends first.
Okay.
We never just sort of latched onto someone famous. We didn't do that. And we've even had Pink, the singer, represent our brand. That was just through friendships.
That's awesome.
And so, but we sent Blink 182 on their first tour to Europe because they just didn't have any money. They weren't famous or anything like that. And some similar stuff with the Black Eyed Peas. So it's always just friends helping friends.
Awesome.
That's awesome. We had similar values, about being positive about things. And, and they could just relate. So they decided to help us.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
We didn't ask them for any favors or anything. They weren't on salary or anything like that.
Gotcha. I got you. You see, you know what? And a lot of times you see, you know, people who partner with a brand is they're getting paid from them and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's one way to do it.
For
just
sure.
Our way is different. Maybe because I'm not that smart, you know. Because I'm always going like on the destiny thing. You know, I wake up and say, "Hey God, what can I do today? Guide me," you know, and then just sort of one thing follows another.
Absolutely.
And then you meet an unexpected person, and you show some kindness, and you share some love, and things just happen.
You're right, 100%. You know, and that's how I am. I'm a genuine person. And that's how I approach my athletes, you know, even if they're at the school with me or the ones I work with outside the school.
You coach with love.
Yeah, I do, 100%.
I read this.
Yeah, that's, oh, man, you did your homework on me. Hey, he did his homework on Coach D, man.
Well, love's
that's
powerful,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me, but that doesn't work for like lots of businessmen.
Yeah,
There's people
man.
way smarter than me that have done
same
way smart
with me.
stuff.
Yeah, same
you know?
with me. But that's what works for me, like you said, man. That's awesome. Okay, let me get to the next question for you, man.
All right.
We all face challenges.
Yes.
I know, but with you starting Hurley, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
Yeah. The biggest challenge for me always is to convince people to come along.
Gotcha.
That's the number one thing that's very, very hard for me because I believe in my destiny and my purpose, and I believe I'm living that. But, you know, how do you get 150 people working with you to believe the same thing? People that have fears, people that might not have any faith or any clear reason to exist, that just are trying to get through life, because life's hard, you know, and there's a lot of insecurity out there. And I have a real hard time when people are insecure. I'm not super good at convincing them to like, no, this is going to be amazing. That's probably the single hardest thing, and including some of the stores we were selling to, you know, like, well, I don't know, you know, we did really good with Billabong, but I don't think this thing's going to work, and this and that, where I have a really clear vision of it, and I'm not super patient enough to explain it.
Gotcha.
So once an executive coach friend of mine I said, hey, Teddy, I really struggle with this one thing. He goes, you know why? You go pretty fast. You experience a lot. You go through lots of things. You're not scared to fail. And then so you're going around this circle like this. You're going around this circle. This is your journey. This is your journey. This is your journey. You get right over here, and those people down there need you to backtrack and explain all that to them, but you're just trying to yank them across this pond. Gotcha. And I was like, oh.
It makes sense.
That's kind of me in a nutshell. I don't have enough patience for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man, life's short. Like, we're still going to be here tomorrow.
Go. Yeah. Gotcha.
So that was probably the most challenging thing for me, is to get people to see the vision, understand why.
Yep.
I have a hard time explaining why, because I'm a pretty bratty person, you know. I really am.
I don't believe that.
No,
man.
as a young athlete, like I said, I was so conceited. It was just ridiculous, you know.
Yeah. But did you learn from that, right?
Yeah, I did. I learned, well, there's a couple ways I learned. I learned from all of a sudden not being like a starter, which I'm like, what do you mean I'm not a starter? I'm like the best guy on the team, to getting older and getting into surfing and skating and not being the best guy there either. But then even further to that, I've had lots of relatives and friends die, more than most people I know. Like I have a friend that's 50 and he just lost the first person in his life. He's like, that's never happened to me before.
Yeah.
I've had like 100. I was keeping a list at one point where I was the first phone call.
Oh, wow.
This is like 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And that was 70 people.
What?
Yeah. I mean, a lot. So early when I was 20, a very good friend died of cancer. And I was like, oh, wow. Then another one, then another one, then another one. And I don't think God was knocking them off to teach me anything, but from that I learned the value of life, you know, and I've lost some very close people to suicide, and I've just learned.
Yeah, I've lost one of my athletes to suicide. Every time Suicide Prevention Month comes around, or during the time that when he committed suicide,
it's tough.
It's
right?
tough. It's tough, man.
It's really hard
on
those that are left.
It's tough, man. Yeah. And I train his little sister now. His little sister's one of the best goalies in the state.
Wow.
And I'm, like I said, super close with Mom as well. but it never gets easier.
Yeah. It never does.
It never gets easier, man. So,
and it never goes away,
it
that
never
pain
goes
either.
away.
It really
goes
never
away.
does.
And I tell the kids, I told your grandkids this
Yeah.
at the school, like, you have my number. If I'm giving you my number,
Yeah.
what I really mean is open communication. If
Yeah.
you need me and you can't talk to mom and dad
Yeah.
or whoever it is, don't.
Well, yeah. Often we can't.
Yeah, you know, call me. I'll do my best to talk with you.
Yeah.
Make sure you're good, because I've lost one athlete to something like that.
Yeah.
Can't lose another one.
Yeah, it's very hard,
hard,
you know.
man.
It's a hard world to grow up in
It
now,
is, man.
you know?
It is, man. So that's why, like I said, I established that communication. Like, use my number if you need it, man. Hit me, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Okay, next one I got for you, man. How does your background in surfing influence the direction and morals that you want to take with Hurley?
Yeah.
How did that happen? Man?
Well, you learn a lot in the ocean, you know. The ocean teaches you so many lessons, but mostly from the people. You know, I learn. I watch everyone, you know, and I try to observe, and I learn what their great characteristics are, and then the ones I don't want to emulate. And it's just like a long, steady process of learning, you know. And I make so many mistakes. I try to learn from them.
We all do. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, I try to learn from them, you know. So just everything in life, you know, I could learn from the teller at the supermarket, you know. I don't like when they're not nice to me.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
So I learned that, hey, maybe the kind of leader I want to be, and maybe because I'm not that smart, is I want to be a servant leader.
Yeah.
So I know how good that makes me feel. Yeah. And I learned one time a friend of mine paid me in advance for some surfboards, and he paid me too much money. And he said, hey, I believe in you. I trust you. And I'm like, whoa, how good does it feel when someone believes in you?
It's amazing.
And how good does it feel when they overpay you and they trust you to deliver the product?
Yep.
So I thought, well, what if I could run a company like that?
Yep.
And so, you know, my goal was always to make the lowest paid person there very highly paid, very much appreciated, as much, if not more, than a boss person. So a kind of an upside down pyramid is sort of what I learned through my surfing years. And all the surfboard people I work with and for, and I learned a lot from a lot of really good people.
That's awesome.
But man, when people are good to you, it makes a big impression.
You
want to over deliver. You don't want to under deliver.
You want to over deliver. Yep.
Yeah, but there's a different school of thought that says, hey, you don't want to act like you're too happy with people, because then they're going to take advantage of you. And that's sometimes true.
It is sometimes true.
But mostly it's not, I would say.
Yeah, and you're right, man. When I have, you know, athletes come in and their parents believe in me so much, you know, and oh, this is your price, but I'm gonna pay you a little bit more because of what you're doing. And that's a hell of a feeling.
You try harder.
Yeah,
though, right?
I mean, you try way harder, man. And you do, man, because that's just giving you that validation that they really believe in you and what you're doing and stuff, man. So that's great, because I feel that same way, and I think the world would be better if more people felt like that, man.
Well, yeah, there's something called the golden rule, right? Seems to work.
Yep.
That's sort of my business philosophy in a nutshell.
Really.
And I think I've been reading I still read a lot of business books. I'm super interested in podcasts and everything. And I think it's becoming more of gratitude is becoming more of a trend, which is good for mental health and everything. But also the golden rule is more of a business trend nowadays than it was 25 years ago.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Let me get to the next one.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Hurley became big in the surf and skate culture.
Yeah.
How did you manage to create such a strong connection with these communities? How did you do that, man? I know you were involved in the community already, but how did you really build that, you know?
Yeah. Well, with Hurley in particular, and with Billabong, and then with our new brand Florence, it's just the way we run stuff. It's super important. Authenticity.
Yeah, it is.
Genuineness. Friendship. So we don't do anything that's like a business scheme.
Gotcha.
Ever. That's like whoa. We don't play like that. And so with the communities, you know, for example, I love the art community. I don't pretend to know about art. I just let them know right up front.
I don't know nothing about art either.
Yeah, and I don't act like I'm a musician to the musicians. And you know, I went to a skate event with a friend of mine once, and I could skate okay when I was younger, but I said, hey, Paul, I don't know what any of these tricks are called. These guys are doing. Can you educate me on the tricks? And he said, no. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because you're going to sound stupid, dude. You're going to try to act like you know about that. Just say, I don't know what you call that whirly thing you did, but I like it. And the authenticity seems to get me a lot further than acting like I'm an expert.
Absolutely.
And I've noticed that with big corporate executives too. I work really well with the ones that don't act like they're an expert in my field.
Yep.
I don't need them to be.
I
already
need you
am.
to. Yep, 100%.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't need you to be. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because in the realm of football, and like I said, I play sports, but I'm a sports performance coach. I'm gonna help you get faster, stronger, and stuff like that. It is so gratifying when I go work with a football coach or a basketball coach who doesn't try to, do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, and they trust me. Like you said, I work better with coaches like that.
Yes.
Just like you do with the executives of the companies that you work with, man. So that's right there.
Yeah, the best guy I've ever worked with, he was a big Nike executive. He started apparel there. He started soccer at Nike, and he's, to this day, we're still really good friends and work together. He's never surfed a day in his life, and he doesn't care.
Yeah, man.
And
listen,
he always says, "Hey, who am I? I know nothing."
Yeah, the same. And this is laid on in the podcast as well, that you hit up on that. But I can't tell you the first thing about surfing. I know you have to paddle out on the board.
Yeah.
You got to trust yourself,
Yeah.
and knowing that it could be something swimming under you, but you're at peace. You're out there in the water and stuff like that. So I don't pretend to know anything that I don't know, but I respect the hell out of the sport. Like, I know Kelly Slater, legend.
Yeah.
John, the one number one surfer in the world right now, legend. So I know enough about it to respect it, but I'm not going to go, introduce myself to you and like I know how to surf or do anything like that. It makes me sound dumb.
Well, I'd be like, "What's that guy's a clown, right?"
Exactly,
It's so
man.
obvious when people aren't authentic.
100%.
But in business, I've found, in the kind of business we do anyways, maybe not in making ball bearings or something or parts, but in the kind of business we do that involves a lot of lifestyle, authenticity or lack of it is sniffed out pretty quickly.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's a lot of posers out there
It is.
in all
Same
fields.
in the coaching world, man.
I have one question about speed. I'm dying to know.
Yeah, please, yeah.
How much of it is mental, like deciding to be faster? Any of it?
That's a great question. A lot of it is mental. It is. Kids won't truly understand how fast they could be until they start to get older.
Yeah.
Like that, 100%. Like they can do all the training from now, like from the age of 8 to 13, 14. But they really won't start being able to produce that force until they get about 15.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man, it takes time. You can, obviously, you can make them faster just by cleaning up their techniques and everything like that. But just physically understanding and knowing mentally, like, I'm fast right now. It's 15, 14, 15. Yeah, so it's mental, man. It is mental.
Interesting.
It is, man. A lot of it is mental. But like I said, you have to get with a good speed coach that's going to really teach you the proper way.
Yeah, if I was doing that, I'd have a speed coach for sure.
100%, man. And I tell, kids that's at the school, and I tell my own kids, like, if I had this stuff growing up in Arkansas.
Oh, can you imagine?
I couldn't imagine, because I look how far I made it without having like a trainer.
Yeah.
If I would have had something like this just with my drive to be great, to just want to be the greatest, I would have been levels ahead of where I was, man.
I listened to the speed coach.
Coach Rick.
Oh, that was insane.
Yeah, Hawaiian guy, just loves Hawaii. He goes twice a year, man. His roots are there. And in my eyes, the greatest speed coach that you can ever sit down and talk to. And I say this all the time, that I won't send my athletes, my personal athletes, to anybody but him.
Oh, wow.
That's how much I respect him and his knowledge, man. But he's phenomenal.
Is he older than you? I've never seen him.
Yeah, he's older. Coach Rick is
so he's like a mentor for you?
He's a mentor. I learned what I know now. I met Coach Rick in 2015.
Yeah.
2015. I based my whole program off his speed portion of it.
Oh, nice.
His speed, because he's just strictly speed guy.
Right.
I'm more of a sports performance coach with a knowledge of speed.
Oh, okay.
So his speed program is embedded all in my program.
Cool.
Everything, I wouldn't say everything, 80% of what he teaches, I teach.
Is he proud of that?
Yes, loves it.
He shares with you?
Yeah, 100%.
Aw,
100%.
isn't that fun?
It's amazing.
That's my favorite way to work.
I can call him anytime.
Yeah.
Coach Rick, I got a question for you about developing this athlete. If their hip flexors aren't strong enough to do this movement, or if they're not strong enough to use their arms correctly, what should I be doing? The knowledge he drops on me, this is what I would do. You know, start here, develop them this way, and never fails. So yeah, having a mentor like Coach Rick in my back pocket is been a game changer. Because I've grown, you know, as a brand. Like how you said you did your research on me, I've grown as a brand. I started, you know, Athlete Performance Factory in 2020 February when COVID hit. Everything started to shut down. That's when I started the company. And so like, I take pride in it because at that time a lot of companies were shutting down. And I opened one and I grew.
Good job.
I thank you. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man.
That's impressive.
It is, man. It is. Just, you know, I'm like I say, I don't do it for the recognition, anything like that, but I do take a step back and think like I was able to start a freaking training company where you couldn't be around people in person, right? And grow during COVID time. You know, and it was a lot based on the teachings that I got from Coach Rick, and he told me, stay true to yourself. If you have a vision, just stay with it, and everything will work itself out. And persistence, man.
You gotta have persistence.
You gotta have persistence, man. And obviously, you know a thing about that because, you know, the way you grew Hurley into selling, you know, 27 million one year, then 40-some million a year after that, man, you have to know what you're doing. You know, to grow Billabong to 100 million in revenue. Persistence, right? Knowing what you're doing, right? So, man, but it goes hand in hand with what you just said, man. You know, I've never been on a podcast when people are asking me questions. You're the first one. Man, I've had, you know, you're my 8th or 9th guest, and it's always me asking the questions. You know, but you asked me once. I feel honored. Bro, I appreciate you, man.
I have one more.
What's up?
Can you dunk the ball?
You know what? 3-4 years ago, I probably could.
Really?
Yeah,
Good job.
I was.
What are you, 6'2"?
No, I wish. Like 5'11" on a good day. Okay. So I can actually, because the way I train and know about training and what you need to be able to have a better vertical, I was jumping better post high school.
No way.
I'm dead serious.
Oh my gosh.
I'm younger. I mean, I can go up and grab the rim in high school a lot easier. Now it takes a little bit more effort. I still can grab the rim.
Good job.
But 3-4 years ago, I would say, I can dunk. Now those days are over. I tried it last year when we played the kids at the school in our basketball game.
Wanted to impress them, huh?
Yeah, I did. And I ended up busting my finger open trying to get up the
no.
end. I was up there.
You didn't catch it on the thing, did you?
So what I did, I got up there, Bob, and I was above the rim, but I got the kids
Can you palm it?
Yeah, I can palm it a little bit, yeah. I got up there trying to dunk the ball, and I'm high enough, but I reached back too far and tried to like punch it in. Busted my finger open, man. Yeah, man. So
that must have been embarrassing.
It was a bit embarrassing, man, but the kids said, well, Coach, you did get up there, so it was impressive at the same time.
Good job. Man. I always wanted to dunk it. That's why I was asking.
So, yeah, it's a good feeling when you're able to get up there and dunk like that, man. All right, cool. The next one I got for you. You touched on your leadership without me, you know, kind of asking as well. You've been praised for your leadership style. Can you discuss what really sets you apart from how you lead your people, your employees, and stuff like that?
I don't know that anything sets me apart, but I'll just tell you my style.
It has to, because you're praised for it.
Everybody's got to have their own style, right? And I've read all the books, and I'm a positive type of a manager. Yep. So I don't know that everybody's a positive type of manager or tries to be. That you know, I don't know if that's good or bad. But my style is, if work starts at 8, I get there at 7. Yeah. I get ready for the day. Everyone that comes, when they get there, I try to greet them. Hey, let's have a great day. You need anything today, let me know. I grab you a coffee or anything like that. I don't like being the boss guy kind of leader. I'll tell you the downside of that. I tell people every time someone does something good, I tell them. Sometimes people think I'm making it up. I'm not. I would never flatter anyone to get them to like me. But if anyone does anything good, I like to let them know. The bad side of that is sometimes you let somebody know they did 150 things good, and you let them know 2 or 3 times the bad thing they're doing, and then you got to let them go, and they're like,
But you just
You
said
always say how
I did
good I'm
this.
doing.
Yeah.
I know you're like, well, this time, no, there were those strange things you did? No, I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't seem mad. Well, I wasn't. I'm just telling you.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
man.
and so sometimes if you don't seem like an angry boss, people get pretty surprised when you have to
Gotcha.
make a change.
You know what?
And that is a downside to my style, for sure.
It makes sense because when I first started coaching, I wanted to be that coach who was just loved by every athlete that came in the door.
That's
I
hard.
did. I wanted to be that coach. Would I yell sometime? Yeah, but then I would let some kids get off the hook sometimes. And it started getting noticed, right? So I had to kind of change that up, because once you yell at that one kid and you kind of let them get off the hook all the time, oh, Mom, he yelled at me, he embarrassed me in front of the group and stuff like that. So you have to change your style up just like you said. But do you remember this one time that you did this and did that like you said?
Yeah.
And then, I do remember that. But I'll let you get off the hook like you just said, man.
As you say that, I'm thinking something weird about myself. So when I was an athlete, I loved playing for the hard coaches, the ones that never gave me a compliment.
Yeah.
I remember once I was okay at being a running back, and I was averaging about 5 or 6 yards a carry. Ref blows the whistle, and the coach is like, Hurley, get out. Come over here. You're going to sit out. I'm like, how come? He goes, you look lazy out there.
What?
I'm like, hey, man, I'm getting 5 or 6 yards every carry.
Yeah.
He goes, and that's the best you can do. Really?
Oh, wow.
He goes, I don't think you're trying. And I'm like, I'm trying.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you're not. He set me out a couple of
Plays, yeah.
Yeah. And then I went back in there. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show him.
Yeah.
And then I was laughing because he was right. I wasn't trying.
Oh, so you got more yards?
Oh, twice as much.
So, okay, he was
So
right
I kind of like playing for coaches like
Yeah.
that, but then I don't manage like that at all.
Yeah. You know what? And it kind of makes me think about, I say Michael Jordan. He wanted to play for the hard coaches as well, too. He says something about playing for hard coaches like that just bring the best out of you. I was like that to a sense. I did want to play for hard coaches, but I also wanted the coaches that were really going to take time to develop me and just not be hard for no reason. Yeah, you want to learn. And unfortunately for me, I only had 2 coaches like that. My ninth grade, 8th grade, 9th grade year in middle school playing for my school in Arkansas. Coach was horrible. Confidence was gone. I was contemplating on quitting basketball.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. Whenever you get as a kid and you're contemplating on quitting the sport that you're playing, that's it's rough, right? Yeah, so it was hard. Then as I was getting ready to go to high school, the varsity coach told me, he knew about me, came to see me play. Coach, we didn't say coach, we said Darius, just stick with it. Stick with it. I promise you, you're going to lead this coach. You're going to be with me.
Yeah.
I know what you can do.
Yeah, he must have saw something.
And I was a shooter. I can shoot, man. He said, I got waves. I'm going to use you in my offense, man. And so my 10th grade year, he put me in a position to get my confidence back with shooting. I played a lot on the varsity team. And then he retired that next year. Then we got
man.
Yeah, man.
Where'd my coach go?
We're like, bro, I stayed at this school because of you. And then we got another coach in my 11th grade year. And I quit. I quit basketball. Yeah, I quit basketball. And it was horrible. I didn't want to play no more.
Yeah.
But my dad, being the great man that he was, he's still alive, taught me into sticking with it. And we ended up going to the high school that he graduated from.
Oh, you switched schools?
I did switch schools.
And you kept playing?
And I kept playing. Yeah, I kept playing. And I met, obviously that coach that I've been knowing him because I would go watch this team play. And, I didn't have games and stuff. So I've been knowing the head coach. But the confidence that he put back into me to go out there and do your game, when they had won the state championship the year before I got there. And, he had to do an article in the paper. And for him to mention me in the article saying that, we got a transfer from this school, he's a senior, and the insight, the knowledge that he brings to the game, is going to help us so much with what we lost. That gave me all the confidence I
for
needed
sure.
in the world.
You're like, that's right. I'm in the right place.
Yeah, I'm in the right place.
They trust me.
They did, and he trusted me. And that was the best years of my high school ball right there, man. So
that's a good coach.
Yeah,
right
it's a great coach, man. So like I say, I want a hard coach.
Yeah.
And I want somebody who's going to also develop and teach me, because you can be hard and not teach a kid nothing.
Oh, that's
man.
the easiest thing to do.
Yep.
Grouchy, come on.
Man.
That's just the easiest thing to do.
That's the easy and laziest thing to do, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good, man. I like it, love it. Okay, next question I got for you, man. Hurley, I mean, you mentioned, how we talked about the athletes and the people that you worked with, right?
Yep.
The celebrities and everything. You collaborated with various artists and athletes over the years. Can you talk about the notable collaborations that you had on the brand of Hurley? I know you said Pink, you said Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, Blink 182. We did some stuff with Pharrell.
You did stuff with Pharrell?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah, back before he was really famous.
Shit, he's
We've done some
now.
stuff with No Doubt, Social Distortion, The Offspring, lots of folks. Too many to list, honestly.
Wow.
But because it's just friends of friends.
Yeah,
we always just try to help them. So
absolutely.
There's a guy named Travis Barker that was a drummer.
Travis Barker, the drummer. I know him.
Yeah.
Man.
So he was a friend from the Blink days, and he started he wanted to start a clothing brand called Famous Stars and Straps.
Mm-hmm. But that is a clothing brand right now, right?
Yeah. We made his first samples for him.
Got you.
And then a guy named Kerry Hart, who's married to Pink, wanted to start a tattoo shop in Las Vegas called Hart and Huntington. We know his partner, John Huntington, and we know Kerry. And we made their first sample line of their clothing, the T-shirts and stuff. So we just always like to use what we have to help our friends.
Absolutely.
And so there's been so many collaborations like that. We've done things with some pretty famous bands on the beach in Huntington Beach. Weezer played on the beach in Huntington Beach. MGMT.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. Weezer made an album that year they played on the beach for us, and they called it Hurley. I mean,
what?
I was like, what
Really?
the heck?
Wow.
That's
You're
ridiculous.
talking about the love. That's love, man.
I'm standing on the beach. There's 60,000 people on the beach. Weezer's playing at our surf contest, the U.S. Open. A plane goes by with a banner that says "New Weezer album, Hurley, coming out September 10th." I'm like,
that's
what?
Like, hey, that gotta be like one of the highlights.
Hey, Mom.
Let's go. Check it out, man.
Yeah.
That's
but all
awesome.
those things happen not because of me, really, per se. It's I don't have a hard time seeing who's amazing.
Yeah.
And I always support my amazing friends that work with us 150%.
That's awesome.
They say jump, I say how high. I don't say, no, I'm going to think about that and get back to you. No, like, dude, if you want to do it, we're going for your full potential, Coach, not mine.
Got you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my full potential is to enable you. Mm-hmm. That's how we got all those things I just talked about.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people I didn't name that made all that stuff happen, not me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope I didn't come off saying that you did it by
yourself. No, you didn't. You're fine. I just want to make it clear. I'm not the kind of guy that works like maybe a Steve Jobs did, where he's the brainiac and he bosses people around and everyone does what he says, yes, sir, and it's huge success, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got an iPhone. I'm the kind of guy that's like, I don't know, what do you want to do? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it, man. Let's go.
Bro.
And I can collect the resources to mobilize behind the people.
Yeah.
Now, a bad part of that is sometimes I've moved people to really big positions before they were ready.
And they wasn't ready for it.
Not knowing that. Like, maybe one of your best athletes, maybe someone says he's going to play in the Super Bowl, next Super Bowl. You're like, whoa. He ain't ready for that.
Not ready for that.
And I'd be like, no, they're ready for it.
Yeah,
and that's setting someone up for failure.
So
I've done that a few times. Pretty big mistakes like that.
Gotcha.
Just because I believe in the people so much. I'm always looking for someone to believe in.
Yeah.
That was our saying when we started Hurley.
Though, right?
I believe in you.
It's hard to believe in people sometimes,
I always find them.
You gotta find. Yeah, you have to find them.
Not hard.
I don't. Sometimes it is for me, man. My bridge. People have burned bridges with me.
Yeah.
Left and right.
Yeah.
That's
dumb.
It's dumb. Yeah. I appreciate that, man. But I've had coaches and stuff that I've trained alongside.
Yeah.
Just use me and abuse me.
Yeah.
And so it took me a long time to like really find people to trust like that, man.
It scars you for sure.
It does. It scars you, man.
Yeah, and you can get burned out there.
Yeah.
But my dad always taught me, like, just don't burn any bridges.
Yeah,
no matter what you think, you're 100% right. They're 100% wrong.
Yep.
Just keep it friendly, man.
I'm good. 100%. Yeah, I can't burn bridges because you never know how that'll come back and reflect on you.
Well, yeah, that 12-year-old kid you called a clown, it might be owning a basketball team pretty soon.
Yep, 100% right. And my son may be trying to play out for that team. I don't know, man. So yeah, you're right. You're right with that. All right, now out of all the friends that you named to help, collaborate with, is there one in particular that stood out? It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like saying who's your favorite kid or grandkid. I don't know.
Listen,
I love everybody I ever do anything with.
I love my kids, but I know my favorite, and my kids know. They know it's my girls. My girls, man. Chloe and Gianna.
Girls love their daddy,
they do,
right?
Man. I love my boys. Don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
I love them, but they even know if Chloe and Gianna, like they need me.
Yeah.
they call me right now, Bob. I'm stopping.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna answer
I
the
would
phone,
hope
man.
so.
Yeah, man. I love my baby girls, man. I love them. Yeah, but they definitely are my favorite. But
Yeah, it's a funny thing, a
it
dad and a
is.
daughter.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a great thing. I would never tell my athletes though which one my favorite. I would never do that, man.
Yeah.
Because I have some athletes that are like beasts.
Yeah,
You know, I got this one female. She's a wrestler.
yeah.
I told her I'm afraid of her. I told her I'm afraid. I said I would never let you grab me any type of way.
Yeah.
Because I've told her multiple times because I know how strong she is.
Oh, yeah.
I said I would never make the mistake and say you're not my favorite athlete,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, it's interesting, man. Okay, next one I got for you, man. With you starting Billabong, how did that come to play? I mean, we're not starting it, but like bringing it to the States. How did that come around?
That's
man?
a good question because I definitely was not an expert in clothing. I was an expert in surfboards.
Surfboard, yep.
And I had a pretty good reputation for not burning people and getting my work done on time.
Got you.
And I just really, really wanted it. So I was super persistent. We were writing letters to Australia and everything. And then finally the guy just showed up, Gordon, at my office one day with his family from Australia. They were on their way to Disneyland. And the girl that ran my store, Helen, said, hey, there's some guy out front that wants to talk to you. He's Australian. And I'm like, what? I walk out there. I'm like, hey, man, what's up? I'm kind of busy.
Hey, man.
I was all covered in dust. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm busy, dude. What's up? He's like, well, I'm Gordon from Billabong. I'm like, oh, my gosh, nice to meet you. How come you never wrote us back?
Yeah.
Like, we really want to carry your stuff. And he goes, well, I'd like you to be the guy in the U.S. if you can buy 3,000 pairs of shorts.
Wow.
And I said, I can. I didn't even ask him how much. And then he said, okay, it's $9, so $27,000. I'm like, the answer is yes.
Just do it, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
figure
went
it out.
home and told
Yep.
my wife, and she's like, "That's amazing. You've been wanting to do that, but we don't have any money, right?" I'm like, "Of course I know we don't have any money.
Yeah.
That'll be the easy part."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then we begged and borrowed all the money from friends and family. Turns out banks don't loan you money if you need it. That was a good lesson.
Yeah, good. That's
You
great.
need it,
Yeah.
they don't loan
They
it
don't
to
own
you.
it to you, you know?
If you don't, no worries.
100%, man.
Yeah, that was an eye opener. But friends, my mom invested, my brother invested, my next door neighbor invested, a couple other friends invested.
They saw the vision.
We got $45,000.
Wow.
They just trusted and believed me.
Yeah.
And we only had 3 pairs of shorts to show them, and we had a couple T-shirts.
Yep.
All the people that weren't friends and family that I would show it to, they'd be like, "No, dude, that's not going to work."
Wow.
I'm like, "It's going to work. It's going to
Look
work."
what happened.
Yeah.
And look what happened. You grew to 100. You and your team grew to 100 million.
Yeah.
That's come on, man.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun,
A lot of
man.
learning for me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yep. Got you. So that was a good
But
question.
ironically, it wasn't. So when I made surfboards, I did really well at it. But my least favorite part of it was actually taking the money from the person. There used to be something called cash that people would hand each other. I hated that. I loved the money, but oh man, I just wanted them to have a nice board.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the curves, the colors, that was all interesting. So it became the same in clothing. I could just do it on a bigger scale.
Got you.
And
That
I didn't
makes
have to
sense.
touch the money in clothing.
Yeah.
My
don't,
finance
your
people did.
finance
Yeah,
people.
I didn't have to do that.
Man. Like it. Okay. Now, like I said, I work, train your grandkids and
Yeah.
everything. So, and I've been asking no questions about you since last year, So I think one of them told me that you met Michael Jordan.
I have never met Michael.
You never
Jordan.
met Michael?
No, one of my very best friends designs everything for Michael.
Is that
Mark Smith is
Mark
his
Smith?
name.
Yeah.
Do you know Mark?
I'm familiar with him because he's been mentioned on a few things that you said on YouTube about
and
him. Yeah.
Mark is brilliant. I mean, he stays with us in Hawaii sometimes, and we do a bunch of different little things together. And we've made some stuff for Michael.
That's awesome.
I have a jacket that we made for Michael. I said, make 2. I want one.
It
It says his name on the inside with Florence on it.
Yep.
But we like all the athletes that we've met through Nike, and my son Ryan's designed a lot of stuff for Rafael Nadal.
Really?
And he's designed some Kobe shoes that were out.
Wow.
Yeah, so the family's got to do a lot of neat stuff as a
That's
result of the
awesome.
Nike partnership,
That's
where there's
awesome.
a lot of imagination involved, and there's no limits on anything, and no budget. We're doing this.
Yeah.
Been the
That's
funnest
crazy,
thing
man.
ever. Yeah, I wouldn't mind meeting Michael.
Yeah, man, me too. That's my favorite basketball player, man. I would love to meet
Isn't
Michael.
that weird? He hadn't played in like 30 years.
I know, it's still.
His company's
still
crushing it.
crushing it, man.
Yeah.
And it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
It's going to keep going,
Yeah.
man. Outside of that, we mentioned Kelly Slater and John, right?
Yep.
How did that relationship happen, man?
Well, I know most of the surfers. I'm a surf fan. And so, as I mentioned, I'm not scared to tell anyone that we're impressed with them or
Yep.
whatever, So I usually, through all the surf contests we ran, would hang out with the
Mm-hmm.
surfers, and we sponsored John when he was like 18 years old.
Oh, he was
at
young.
Hurley.
Yeah, Hurley.
And I had the privilege one day of, we were going to make him a new deal, the biggest deal ever in the history of surfing.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend Roger that I mentioned earlier said, okay, here's the deal. If this is going to get past the execs at Nike, I need you to write 2 paragraphs only on why this is important.
Mm-hmm.
So that took me about a week to get that written.
For something like that, you got to take your time.
It was a lot of
man.
money,
Yeah,
it was over $40 million, right?
Wow, really?
And so he goes, they're all going to China. They're flying on a jet.
Mm-hmm.
Send it to the CEO, the president, the head of marketing,
Of Nike.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay.
No pressure, right?
I did.
No pressure.
I did,
man.
and I sent the email,
Uh-huh.
and immediately the president got back to me and said, "We're doing whatever Bob says."
Oh, bro.
Just like that.
Oh,
I mean, so
man.
there were some wonderful times at
Yeah,
Nike, right?
that's awesome,
And then as a result of that, we started selling Hurley products on Nike's website.
Yep.
And on June 15th, 2016, on the cover, like if you clicked on Nike.com, you would open it up, and there was John Florence in a barrel, and it says Nike presents Hurley. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, we made it.
won.
Hey, we made it right
We
here,
did
man.
it.
That's awesome, man.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I guarantee. Yeah, I know it's
Yeah, but
Nike,
we just
yeah.
meet most of the athletes when they're little. Like,
Yep.
I think I met him when he was 10, and Carissa Moore, another 5-time world champ.
Yep.
Met her at 10 years old, just from being at the contest.
That's awesome,
And
man.
we always try to encourage them without political affiliation.
Yeah.
We never say like, "Oh, we're going to be nice to these people, so maybe someday they'll work with us." We
Yeah.
just try to encourage them and help them when they're young and they look like they're going places
Yep.
to be their best. you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. And Kelly and John, they live in Hawaii right now, so they surf a lot out there, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So
awesome, man.
in Hawaii, John is our neighbor. I think he's 11 houses down. Kelly is in our neighborhood. He's probably about 20 houses the other way.
Gotcha. I
And,
think Titus and Jones was telling about that. Yo, John, coach, you got to meet him.
Yeah.
Kelly's like here. We surf with them in
Yeah.
Hawaii. And you got to come to Hawaii with us so you can meet these guys, man. I said, bro, just give me some time to work it, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to Hawaii with y'all, man.
But no different
that's
than
awesome, man.
hanging out with the kids.
Yeah,
Just regular
man.
everyday life.
That's
It's
awesome,
nothing weird.
That's
just,
awesome,
Just
man.
people you know.
Yep, for
you
sure.
know.
And like I said, you've been knowing these guys since they were
We were joking. So Kelly used to be sponsored by our rival Quicksilver.
Quicksilver.
Yeah, and at the time he was with Quicksilver, we ran a bunch of contests, and we joked he won so many of them. He was our highest paid athlete. I was handing him all kinds of money. Here's another $100,000. Here's
my
another
goodness.
$100,000.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
another $100,000.
What?
One time in one event, this was so fun. He surfed so well,
Uh-huh.
and I asked my friend Roger that was helping me run Hurley. I'm like, hey man, this is historic. What's going on right here? This performance is huge.
Yep.
Can I just raise the prize money right here and
Yeah.
now?
Let's go.
And we had already had a check where the prize money was like, I think it was $70,000. And I'm like, I want to give him like $200,000. And he's like, calm down a little. Just calm down a little.
Was he surfing that good?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
It was mind numbing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how about 100? He's like, okay, 100.
You give him 100.
And I'm like, where are we going to get the extra $30,000? He goes, doesn't matter.
We'll do it.
We'll figure it
We'll
out.
figure it
and
out,
Then, so
man.
right then and there, I asked the boss of the World Surfing League, hey, Rabbit, what would it take to raise the prize money here and now? He goes, well, I'm the boss. You're the boss. Just say
yeah,
we're
say
raising
it.
it.
Oh.
I'm like, really? So we got a Sharpie and we wrote a check. Kelly Slater, $30,000. So he got his regular check
Yep.
and went in the contest. And they're
He
like,
got another one.
wait, here's another one. It was so fun.
I mean, kid, I get his eyes probably lit up. Like, what?
I mean, and it wasn't the money. It was really
Yeah.
just everything he's done for surfing
Yeah.
is just like a Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's a
pretty
legend.
much.
Yeah, I did my research on him too, man. He's a legend,
just
man.
mind-boggling what
Yeah.
he's done. You
That's
know?
awesome,
So that was
man.
a lot of fun. But just stuff like that.
But
you
that,
know?
man, when I came and got you downstate, you know what? Honestly, before when we were texting about you coming on the podcast, and you said, I don't know what we're gonna talk about. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And I said, man, listen, Bob, like you gotta realize like what type of legend you are in the surfing skating community, bro. Like you're like a legend, man. Like I tell people about you and really. You talk to Bob Hurley? Like, yeah, man. Like, bro, you're a legend, man.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, no,
Thank
I mean
you.
it, man. I
Yeah.
mean it, man.
I'm just a guy trying to get by.
Nah, man.
Every
you're a
day's the
legend.
same for all of us,
Nah,
man. You
you're
just
a
got to
legend,
wake
man.
up and like keep moving ahead.
You're a legend, brother. Nah, you're a legend,
Thank
man.
you.
Absolutely. All right, now, Next one, last one about the brand itself,
Yes.
man. You sold it to Nike.
Yeah.
And where does that rank amongst your accomplishments of selling it to a brand like that? 'Cause
Yeah.
Nike is a powerhouse, right?
Yeah, well, you remember I wanted brands when I grew up. We
Yeah, you
couldn't
did,
afford
yeah.
them, right?
Yep.
And I've always been a fan of Nike since they started. I like
Yep.
the way they did everything. And I
Absolutely.
like Just Do It, Michael
Yeah.
Jordan,
Yep.
the rebellious nature of against the establishment, so I love Nike. Huge fan, Bo Jackson, all that
Yeah.
stuff. And the way we sold it to him was very cool because we just needed money and we wanted a good partner. We got rejected by Polo,
Really?
Gucci,
Really?
Levi, and Nike. And then the boss of Nike, who was the boss from like 900 million to 10 billion, called me up one day. He's like, "Hey, Bob, you don't know me. My name's Tom Clark. I'm the president of Nike. I'd like to come down and meet you." And I said, "What for?" He goes, "You wanted to partner with us, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah.
But you already said no. He goes, I know. It's too small of a deal. No one gets it here. A bunch of people don't get it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to come down and meet you.
Okay.
We instantly hit it off.
That's
Just
awesome.
super. If he was sitting here, you'd be like, that guy's cool.
Oh,
Just like Mark
that's
Smith,
awesome.
right?
That's awesome,
Just one of
man.
those guys.
Yeah, one of
and,
those guys, yeah.
And then we went through a process for a couple months with a lot of lawyers and accountants and in rooms with whiteboards and everything. And he's looking at me one day, and after the meeting, he goes, "Hey, come here for a second. I want to ask you something." I'm like, "Yeah, what?" He goes, "How you doing with all this?" I'm like, "I'm doing fine, man. This is way out of my realm. I'm not used to this stuff."
Yep.
He goes, "Well, it's a little tiresome. I'm sick of all these meetings, and I'm pretty sure you must be." I'm like, "Well, And he goes, "Why don't you, next chance you get, fly up here, me and you will have coffee, and we'll just make the deal. We don't need all these people to help."
Wow.
So we met at this little coffee shop. He pulls out a napkin. He's like, writes on there, "Hey, you think your company's worth this much, right?" A lot of people would disagree with that. I'm going to say it's worth whatever you say it's worth. So
What?
let's just say that. And he draws 3 lines on there. He goes, "How about this much cash, this much stock option, and this much earnout? So if you get a certain size, then you get this other money." And I said, "Yeah, it looks pretty good." And I turned the napkin upside down. I go, "It looks good, but I like the opposite." And he goes, "Okay, sure." Like that. And I go, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Leave the rest to me. It's just a real head scratcher, all
Yep.
the stuff you got to go through. But I got it. Don't worry.
Gotcha.
We're going to make this deal."
Okay.
So that's how we
you
did
made
it.
the deal.
So I wish everybody could do something like that in life, because for me, I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
really partnering with Nike.
With
right
Nike,
now.
yeah, man. With
Crazy.
Nike, it's crazy.
We were too small. I mean, the legal fees on the transaction were bigger than our company.
Wow.
Yeah, we were only 70 million in sales when they bought us, and it costs a lot to make deals like that.
Really?
Yeah, really a lot. I have a book that's like 8 inches thick on the deal. Lots of very expensive
Of
lawyers.
that one deal with Nike.
Yeah, lots of very expensive lawyers worked on it.
Eight-
It might not have cost them 70 million
Yeah.
to make the deal, but it cost
But
them
still,
a lot.
it costs a lot.
And in the world of Nike, so Nike's so big. We started when they were 10 billion. And now it's 50 billion. When Hurley was part of Nike, we grew at the same rate Nike did. So we quadrupled by the end. We were 300 million, but Nike was 40 billion.
40 billion.
Yeah, and then we
Sheesh.
encouraged them to sell it, and they sold it, and
Yeah.
and then we have nothing to do with it anymore.
Gotcha,
But
yeah.
what a fun journey, man.
Yeah, what a fun journey. Yeah.
I got to play a flamenco guitar in a castle in Barcelona that was built in the year 1200 to like 400 Nike execs.
Barcelona.
Yeah, it was insane. I'm like, what am I doing
What?
here? Some kid from
Yeah.
like Rhode Island is
from
doing
Rhode
this
Island.
right now, who's apparently not good at anything. What am I even doing here,
What?
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
It was super
man.
fun.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
Wow,
And then I got to
man.
pay off my mom's house,
Yeah.
That's what you want to do in
Yeah,
life.
absolutely. That is what you want to
Yeah,
do. man.
and
That's great
all
stuff,
the kids
man.
can go to college now.
Excellent.
So we're happy.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
A lot of fun
A
stuff.
lot of fun. So that is a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah,
for you,
it's up
man.
there. I don't.
That's awesome.
I never rank them, but
Yeah.
man, I wish everybody got a chance to do that.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Okay, I got 2 more questions for you, man.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any advice that you can give to a young Bob Hurley about following his vision, staying true to himself, and wanting to start a brand like you did? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, that's a good question. I get a lot of young people that are starting brands that want to come see me. I think one thing you have to do is decide why you want to start a brand and why it should exist. So you asked me about hard things of starting Hurley. we had to decide what Hurley was going to look like. And we decided that it couldn't look like any other brand out there. Yeah, and why should it exist? And we decided, well, there was a whole generation of people that weren't served by corporations and how to look different. So the reason why, I think, is one of the biggest. And then also, you got to have persistence, because every single day you're getting beat down. And it's, it's no different than trying to be a top athlete.
100%.
Everyone's trying to take you down.
Everybody.
The better you are, the worse it is. And so you just got to be ready for that and kind of have some thick skin, I think. There's a lot of, you got to be willing to willing to fail.
And
you're going to fail all the time.
You're going to fail, 100%.
If you fail 90 times, but you don't fail 100 times, and you 10 times you don't fail,
that's still
that's
good.
a big win right there.
A win.
But that's a lot of pain when you're failing. But when you're failing, just you learn.
If
you don't learn, then it's a failure. If you learn it, it's not a failure.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, so
100%.
I guess those are and I think maybe just trying to understand, each person's different, but understand why you're on this earth, and if that's really what you're supposed to be doing.
Gotcha.
Because if you just do it to make money, that's huge chance of failing.
Yeah, 100%, man.
And no chance of happiness.
Yeah.
So whatever you're supposed to be doing, that's what you should try to do.
I love it. You say, you don't do it for the money. I mean, it comes along with the territory.
Yeah.
But I look at when I train my athletes. I mean, my parents, they pay me. But the vision is the kids. Now I'm doing it for the kids.
Oh,
man,
yeah. You want to see some of them be super successful and just
man.
go, wow, I got to help with that.
Yeah, that's it, man. Doing Friday when I talked to all the kids, I told them that my biggest joy is going to come from seeing you guys go out and not only be professional athletes, but be doctors and lawyers, owners of businesses and stuff like that. Just seeing you being great people. Yeah. That's going to be my biggest joy right there. Knowing that I can sit back and say, like, man, this kid here is the owner of a multi-million-dollar company, and I got to help develop him at a young age, So that's my biggest, I love that feeling.
Well, you're already doing it.
I appreciate
we're thankful because yesterday we watched Titus Jonas and Kern play football. Kern was injured. Jonas a little injured. But they're tough on the field, man. And there's a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and there's a lot of knocking down. Yep. They always pick the other guy up. Yep. They always pat him on the butt. Yep, they always say good game. Yep. I'm like, they got good coaches, right? Yeah. A lot of the teams we play are not like that.
No, they don't do that. 100%.
Oh, no. It's a lot of hate.
100%, man. I had Carson Palmer on here earlier. Yeah. And said the same thing. Yeah.
Was he here today?
He was here today.
Oh, I missed him.
Yeah, you missed him, man. He was here today, man. He was the first one showed up. But he said the same thing. It's not a lot of what you just mentioned, man. Yeah. But I take pride on making sure the kids know that. Yeah. It's a time and place for you to do stuff like that. You don't want to, just really embarrass a kid and just be a bad sportsmanship because, this gonna come back around on you if you do that, man. Oh, yeah. So, but I'm real appreciative that you said those words.
I noticed
about me.
it.
I appreciate you, man, because I'm trying. Yeah. I'm trying. I appreciate you so much, man. Yeah. Like I said, I don't do it for the recognition. Yeah. But it does feel good to hear, people say that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be a top football player or whatever athlete forever, right? Yeah, man. At some 100%. Point, you're going to be just out there in the real world trying to get a job.
100%.
You got to be a good person.
That's right. That's right. All right. So the last question I got for you, and I've done this with every guest that came on. So I know that if you can help me get guest on here. If it's two guests that you can say, Coach D, I think this person be a good guest for your show to sit down and talk to drop some knowledge to the listeners, to the youth athletes or something like that. Who could they be if you can help me get them on here? Yeah. Who do you think you can help me get, man?
Who would be a really, really good one? Who's you would probably like listening to his podcast if you don't already. His name's Michael Gervais.
No, never.
Gervais. He's a sports psychologist who isn't really practicing that much anymore. He's helped the Seahawks a lot.
Really?
Really, like one of the best guys ever. And he has a lot of very interesting guests on his podcast. Okay. I'll send you a link to it.
Okay, yeah, please do.
Finding Mastery.
Finding Mastery.
But he's all about sports performance.
Oh, that's
I think you would really,
that's my neck of the woods.
Really enjoy just absorbing him.
Yeah.
He's an incredible person. He's personally helped me with some stuff. Yeah. He's helped John, Carissa, all these people.
Yeah, that's the route I need to go. I love that.
He helps Tyler Lockett a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett, the football player. I met
and
Tyler
he's
Lockett.
good friends with Pete Carroll. He was
Yeah.
business partners with Pete
Yep.
Carroll.
I met Tyler Lockett the year he got drafted.
Wow.
Yeah, at the barbershop.
Yeah.
At the barbershop. Got a picture with him and everything.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
I'm watching
Yeah.
him in the game. Like, he's never in the middle of a collision.
Nope.
He's always wide open.
He's fast.
Everything looks easy. Is he fast?
He's fast.
Okay.
He's fast.
That's what, but he looks like he's just cruising, man.
Yeah, he's fast.
And the ball's always in his hands. You're
Yep.
like, how does that happen?
Always. I
He's
remember.
fast, huh?
Yeah, I asked him after he got out the chair, and I went to Kansas State, and
Yeah.
I'm in the draft right now. I said, man, can I get a picture with you? I know you're gonna make it.
Yeah.
And I said, bro, what you run your 40 in? He just laughed and said, you'll see when I run my 40.
Really?
When he ran his 40, I said, yeah, he told me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he told me.
So that's
Yeah.
his thing is speed.
Yeah, he's
Because I'm always
speed,
watching
yeah.
him. I'm asking the grandkids, how is this guy always? They're
Yeah.
like, Grandpa, he runs where there's
Yeah.
open field.
Yeah,
he
man,
doesn't
yep.
stick to the route.
Nope.
He goes to the open field.
100%.
I'm like, but he looks like he's cruising. They're like, no, he's fast.
No, he's fast. He is fast, man. So he's like known as an over-the-top receiver. I'm going to beat you over the top. My quarterback, whoever it is, just gonna throw me the ball. I'm gonna beat you.
Yeah.
And he's always been like that. Even in Kansas,
Yeah.
he was like that. So yeah, he was a nice guy, nice kid. I can
Yeah.
say because when I met him, he was a kid like 18 when I met him.
Yeah.
No, I'll take it back, like 21 when I met him. But he was nice, super nice to my kids and
Yeah.
everything. So he's a good kid. Man.
Well, I will send Michael Gervais
Please.
your podcast on speed,
Please.
and I'll say, hey, Michael, I just met with this
Thank
guy,
you.
and
Thank
I
you.
think you should consider being on his podcast.
Thank you. If you can connect me with him, that's even more because I love sitting down with people that's in the world of sports
Yeah.
performance and how they attack.
Yeah,
mentally.
well,
That's great.
he would have some incentive because he's into sports performance,
Yeah,
right? He would have
100%.
some incentive for your listeners.
Yeah, man, and I love that. All about bringing value, especially to my youth athletes. that are
Yes.
listening.
Yeah.
So no, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
man. Bob, man, I really, again, appreciate you for taking time out of your day
My pleasure.
to come down and sit with me, man. Like it's an honor to meet you, honor to be able to call and chat with you and call you G. Paul Hurley. I mean, I hope that don't sound weird when I call you that, but whenever
No,
I'm around the
You're probably young
grandkids,
enough to be my grandson.
I'm pretty sure I am, man. But when I talk to your grandkids at school, I always say, how's G. Paul Hurley doing?
Yeah.
And it just kind of grew on
Yeah.
them for me to say that. And so, but like I said, man, I just really appreciate you for taking your time out to come down and sit with me and help me get more involved in the surfing community.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do have people who love to surf and go to the beach who are going to listen to this and
Sure.
going to be thrilled that you came on and, drop jewels on what you did to how you got to where you were today, man.
Well, pleasure chatting. Well, hopefully it's helpful.
No, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you,
Yep.
man. All right,
Pleasure.
man.
All
We're
right.
out of here.